Will The Matrix 4 really come out on the same day as John Wick Chapter 4? That's the headline and the question I will be discussing on today's MBE Movie News. Yes guys, and this one is coming in from Cinema Blend, and yeah, I mean it's pretty self-explanatory really. I gave the game away in that opening little shot. They are suggesting, this is coming from Variety incidentally, that Warner Brothers has indeed scheduled The Matrix 4 to come out on May 21st, 2021, which would put it in line with a conflict with obviously the upcoming John Wick Chapter 4 set to also come out on May 21st, 2021. Now, they are saying that this could just be the ultimate showing of absolute appreciation for the renaissance that is Keanu-essence, I think they're calling it. And perhaps we will indeed get these two movies coming out on the very same day, and that this will be a representation of just how popular this man is now, that he can actually come out with two separate blockbuster movies on the same day and make money for both companies. Now, do I feel like this is something which is realistic? Do I feel like this is something which indeed will happen? Well, to be quite frank with you, no I don't. I feel like we will absolutely get one movie come out, or perhaps on the 21st of May 2021, but another movie will absolutely shift its release date so that there isn't a conflict of interest for the actor and a conflict of interest in terms of box office numbers for both of these movies. Now, there's no denying that Keanu Reeves is absolutely a box office draw in 2019, and he will be because he's ever eternal in 2021 as well, because the man is just on a crest of a wave at the moment. He's hitting the ball out of the park. He seems to be really picking his movies intelligently, and he's not put a foot wrong. I mean, he goes and does what was it called? Maybe, Always Be My Maybe, the Netflix rom-com movie, and then he goes off and does a Bill and Ted 3, then he goes and does John Wick, and then he goes off and does another smaller release movie, which perhaps most people won't watch, but he's just in the midst of an absolute crest of a wave, as I did say, in terms of popularity. But even so, there is a limit to what Keanu Reeves can do at the box office, and they rightly highlight this in Cinema Blend, that this is the primary reason why one of these movies will move, and that is that they are so similar in their genre and their tone that it just wouldn't work. Now, if he was in a rom-com, or if he was in a period piece, or something which was distinctly different in tone and genre, everything really, then perhaps they both could release on the same day and live harmoniously together. But as it is, they are both action heavy movies. I was about to say horror, I hope not, and they're too similar. They'll be the same demographics going out to watch it. Now, could it work? Well, absolutely it could work in theory. You could have double matinees and people going in and watching both movies on the same day. It could work in theory, but I don't think it would work in theory, because even the ever popular Keanu Reeves has his limitations. I don't even think Dwayne Johnson could release two movies, action movies, on the same day and have them both be box office successes. If I was to be a betting man and a guessing man, I was about to say a getting man or something like that, I don't know, it was getting discombobulated. But if I was to be a betting man, then I would pick The Matrix 4 moving its release date to allow John Wick Chapter 4 in. John Wick Chapter 4 is the more established franchise at the moment. The Matrix undoubtedly was the big breakthrough action movie of the early 2000s. It was absolutely pioneering what the Wachowskis did with that movie. It was such an iconic character, Neo, and he was armed with a great supporting cast of Carrie-Anne Moss and also Lawrence Fishburne and whatnot. And it's not really aged well though, and it was ever diminishing returns, and this is a real gamble for Lana Wachowski to come in and try and make this movie and try and perhaps do a prequel or perhaps do a midquel. I think that was the rumours as well. It's not a guaranteed success at the box office, even with Keanu coming back and perhaps Carrie-Anne Moss as well. Whereas John Wick Chapter 4 is in the midst of a similar crest in a wave as Keanu, where we have great appeal and love for this. There's a spin-off TV show with the Continental. People connect with the character of, obviously, Mr. John Wick. I forget his actual name. I know he's from some East European country. But that's the more established franchise at the moment. It has more chance of maintaining that tent pole, if I can speak, 21st of May slot. That's a slot we've been akin to seeing at a big Avengers ensemble movie, taking the likes of Endgame and whatnot. And I think that's the more likely to stay. And then I think we'll see Matrix 4 shifting, because that movie's still, I want to say, in pre-production at the moment. They've not fully cast, they've not got a set, probably storyboard in place and whatnot. So I think they're sticking it in there, letting everyone know this movie exists. It could potentially be coming out in 2021, but I don't think it will stick to that May 21st release date. There's too much conflict of interest, and even the great Keanu Reeves can't please everyone and have two movies living harmoniously at the box office, two action movies, and have them be a complete box office success. So I do feel like it's pie in the sky, it won't happen. I wish it would, because I can't get enough Keanu Reeves. I went to see John Wick Chapter 3, one of my favourite action movies of the year, and he was utterly splendid in that movie. So I personally would go and watch too, but I'm not reflective of the average cinema-going audience. I have an unlimited pass. I go and watch 300-400 movies a year. I'm not the average moviegoer. But look guys, I will move on to a very similar release date heavy topic, and this one is coming in from, I want to say, MovieWeb, and it is all about the Flash movie setting a new 2022 release date. And will it stick, they ask? Well, it's kind of a similar to what I was speaking about there. There isn't a conflict in interest of sorts, but this movie's been marred with so much issues and behind the scenes nonsense, infighting between Ezra Miller and the original director, so much so that they split up, I believe. Warner Brothers got Ezra Miller sat down and says, look, your contract's ready to run out, May this year I think it was. If you want to continue also playing this character, then you have to write your own script, come back to us, and then we will either greenlight it or throw it in the trash can and you'll be out, or you can then go off and create your own movie. He wanted to have a darker tone, a more gritty tone, reflective of perhaps what we've seen in the Nolan trilogy and maybe even the early Snyder stuff, whereas Warner Brothers, seeing the success of Aquaman and Wonder Woman and obviously Shazam, eyed that more lighty, airy tone that obviously had great success with the MCU and Marvel. And there was a bit of conflict there. The director wanted to go down the Warner Brothers route, Ezra Miller wanted to do his thing. Ezra Miller appears to have won out though, maybe in the midst of the success of obviously Joker, an R-rated, darker movie. He's finally won, and apparently he's going to be portraying the character again, and it is set to come out in 2022. Now, do I think it will come out 2022? Well, I sincerely hope it does, because much like Keanu Reeves, I really enjoy Ezra Miller as an actor. What he's done as Credence Barebones in the Fantastic Beasts franchise has been one of the more interesting things in those sets of movies, really alongside the lighter and protagonistic figure of Eddie Redmayne's Newt Scamander. I really like this actor. I want to see him playing the Flash. I felt like he was used as the butt of the joke in the Snyder, well, I'm saying the Snyder, he didn't do the Justice League, that's why we're getting the Snyder Cut thing, but he was used as the butt of the joke in that movie. I personally would love to see him portraying this character in a more serious manner and with a story which is obviously befitting of this character, because he's a very, very cool character, let's be honest. So I sincerely hope it does stick. It's 2022 release date. Time will truly tell where it does. We've seen it with various comic book movies over the years, obviously Channing Tatum's Gambit movie, a whole host of other movies have had real production troubles. The New Mutants was another one. So it's by no means confirmed, even though this movie has apparently been set a 2022 release date, that it will indeed come in 3 years' time. But look, time will tell. It's a long ways away. I could go out and get hit with a bus tomorrow and I'll not be worrying about a new Flash movie. So look, live in the moment and we'll see what happens in 3 years' time, if it indeed, or maybe even a year's time if it sticks its release date and it goes into production. But look guys, I will move on very swiftly. I'm looking at that battery on my camera and it is looking very ominous indeed. I may not get this show out today, but if I do, then you'll be watching it. So yes, the final topic I'm going to be speaking about in the topic side of the show is the Eddie Murphy topic, which is coming to me from Cinema Blend, and it's all about Coming to America 2. He says it goes above and beyond fans' expectations. Now this excites me tremendously, because anyone that knows me will know that I am the most massive of fans of Coming to America. Just one of the great pop cultural events of the 80s for me, that movie, just alongside like John Candy movies. It was wonderful. He was the most funniest guy in the world at the time. Some would argue he still is the most funniest guy in the world, alongside obviously Chappelle or whatnot. And this was like one of the best movies in his career for me. I mean, I just loved it, everything about it. It was the first time I'd ever seen multiple characters being portrayed by the same actor in such an authentic manner. It was played for laughs, and some moments were just played beautifully, like the barber sequences and whatnot. Joe Lewis, he kicked Joe Lewis's ass and things like that. Rocky Marciano, just him and Arsenio Hall, just making magic happen. And look, he says in this article, a lot of people have this expectation, like people would say to me when they found out I was doing it, don't fuck that movie up. So we've gone above and beyond what anybody would think, and I'm really, really happy with it. Now, that is the end of the quote, so it's going to be quite difficult for me to speak about this movie, other than to say that I'm intrigued by the way that the story's panning out, as I've heard. That it's going to focus on this confrontation and this sort of a setup between Eddie Murphy's obviously Akeem character, and just I think there's an issue with a neighbouring tyrannical ruler in one of the neighbouring African states, and it's playing out like that, and there's infighting and whatnot, and it's an interesting dynamic, so that excites me. He's doing something unique with it, something fresh, and yeah, I just cannot wait to see him coming back. I spoke about riding crest of a wave. It seems like Eddie Murphy's having a bit of a renaissance. Some would argue he was never away, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do, and I would, because the man doesn't have to do it. He did it, and he was one of the best at doing it. He's bringing the OG cast back, the likes of Arsenio Hall, as I did say. Even James Earl Jones is coming back, and he's also bringing in Wesley Snipes, who will, I think, be playing the tyrannical figure of that neighbouring state. So it's very exciting to see if he can capture some of what he did in Dolomite Is My Name, which was a wonderful movie, a really powerful performance. And yeah, I just cannot wait. I hope it doesn't tarnish my childhood, because I will regularly go back and watch the sexual chocolate sequence and whatnot. The barber sequence, as I said, him going out and trying to find a wife in the nightclubs of Queens and New York. So I hope it doesn't tarnish it, because I always speak about movies being a period of their generation and of their era. Back to the Future couldn't have been made in any other decade other than the 1980s. Star Wars, I fundamentally believe, the way that it captured that innocence, the unique blend of humour, and just the storytelling, they've never been able to recapture that outside of the 70s and the 80s, and that's because it's a product of its generation. People are more cynical now. They have different viewpoints on life, and it's incredibly difficult to then reclaim some of the things that made that movie what it was and bring that into a new generation and have it click with people outside of the older generation and demographics who grew up with the movie. So I hope it doesn't ruin my childhood. I hope Eddie's telling the truth, that they have gone above and beyond fans' expectations, because the expectations are certainly very high in this household alone. We are all fans of Coming to America. And I'm just excited, man, because the guy hasn't aged. He's just, I don't know what the hell he's doing, what treatment he's got with his skin, but him and Arsenio Hall look like they are maybe 5-10 years older than what they were in 1989. So I'm on board for it. I cannot wait. I'll probably go and watch it regardless, even if it is a shit movie, because I love these guys and I love the story and I love the characters. And Sexual Chocolate, Randy Watson is coming back. So if we get to see a maybe older, fatter, even more fatter Randy Watson kicking around with a baby boy suit and some frilly ass shirts, then I'm on board for that. Will Soul Glow still be all the jazz in 2020 or whenever this is coming out, 21? Lord knows. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to a slightly different blog rundown setup this week. We are sadly having to start streamlining the blog rundown section into a more synopsis heavy and maybe pointing the focus more towards the writers themselves, instead of us just gibbering off nonsensically about movies that it's not necessary to gibber off nonsensically about it. Put the focus on the writers instead. Maybe get you to go off and read the wonderful reviews. But look, first one coming in this week is The Boonies, and this is coming from Peter Plumers, I want to say his name is. I always screw that up, I don't know why, it's not a hard name at all. And this is a movie which was directed by Lord knows who. I don't actually have a director's name in front of me, but it stars the likes of Cody Cole, Kyle Jones, Lauren Elizabeth, Andy Matichak, who I know, and Anne-Marie Gartner. And it's essentially a similar concept to The Goonies, in a sense, where it's young high school kids, 10-year-olds I want to say, and it's just a story about childhood and friendship and whatnot. And apparently, according to Peter, it's not a high quality movie, and it's one that he would probably be looking at an assignment made by final year students, so that's not uplifting me at all. He says it's a little awkward, the humour fails, and it's terribly outdated. So look, Tylergy, instead of me talking about it, as I said, I was going to streamline it to go along to movieburnerentertainment.org, go to the blog rundown and read Peter's wonderful review. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to the next movie on the blog rundown. This one is coming in from DM Anderson, and it's a fantastic review that I would highly urge you to go along and watch. It's Dora and the Lost City of Gold. This one, of course, directed by James Bobbin. It stars the likes of Isabella Moner, as they say here, Merced. It's also got Eugenia Derbez and the fantastic Michael Pena. Now, I didn't watch the movie because I have no connection to Dora the Explorer. I don't have any sprockets of my own, so it wasn't one that connected with me, and by all accounts it didn't connect with many people, certainly not Hispanics, who it was supposed to be empowering. But look, Dave actually seems to have got something out of it. He says it wasn't at all what he was expecting. It was fast, silly fun, and continuously inventive, and amusingly self-aware, which is something you always need in a movie like this anyway. He says it was hopelessly cynical, one would have to be hopelessly cynical, I should say, or perpetually angry, not to play along. So look, that's just a brief synopsis of the wondrous talents of Dave. He's a magnificent writer, so I highly urge you to pop along to our website and give that one a full read, perhaps subscribe to our blog, because you get some wonderful reviews coming in about a whole myriad of different movies which perhaps you wouldn't know about, some you would know about, and you're just intrigued to hear someone's educated voice on what the movie is like. Now, look guys, I'm gibbering away, this battery's nearly going, and I'm going to move on to the final review on the blog rundown on that note. This one seems like it could be a Christmas special. It's Let It Snow, and it's coming in once again from Peter Plemmers, and it's directed by Luke Snelling, and once again it stars the talents of the up-and-coming Isabella Merced, and it also has the likes of Adair Rush and Shamik Moore in there. It is a Christmas movie. Now, I've heard about this movie. I heard it's actually pretty decent, and apparently, according to Peter, it has got a bit of love actually in there, and he says that he recognised Isabella Merced right away. She happens to have the most beautiful and convincing role, and that doesn't surprise me at all. When you're bringing together an immensely talented young cast, you go for the ones who are perhaps more talented than the others to give the burden to carry the movie, and that seems to be the case here. Now, he says that this is a Christmas movie, and look, all Christmas movies are essentially about happiness and love. He says that it has some sugar-sweet moments and corniness dripping from it, but it has some spontaneity too, and it unites couples of the earth en masse to go along and watch it. It's on Netflix, it's easy to consume, and you know what? I will watch it to get myself into more Christmas spirit. I finally watched Last Christmas, and I really enjoyed that as well. So look, I'm no Grinch by any means, and you shouldn't be a Grinch either. You should go along, support good old Peter, and read his wonderful reviews. But look guys, on that note, I'm going to round up the blog rundown, and I'm going to round up today's MBE movie news as well. What do you make about this news about Keanu Reeves, the renaissance occurring and getting into Overload to such an extent where we have perhaps two of his movies, John Wick Chapter 4 and The Matrix 4, coming out on the one day? Do you think it will happen? Or like me, do you think it will be moved? What's your thoughts on the Flash movie? What's your thoughts on Eddie Murphy trumpeting the expectations of fans being passed, well exceeded if you like, for the upcoming Coming to America? If you have anything to say, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying content like this. And if you do, then you will see me tomorrow with Stephen for the Force Friday show.